Welcome to Module 2, Techniques and Application of Creative Thinking. In Module 1, we laid the foundation. You learned what creative thinking is, why it matters, and the common barriers that block it. Now we shift gears. This module is about action. We're going to practice tools and strategies that can turn creativity from a nice concept into a daily habit. Think of Module 1 as understanding how the gym works, and Module 2 as actually stepping onto the treadmill, picking up the weights, and putting the theory into practice. Purpose of the module. The purpose of this module is simple: to move from knowing to doing. We'll dive into structured creativity techniques, methods that help you generate fresh ideas when your usual thinking gets stuck. These aren't just for big, flashy innovations. They're for everyday challenges: how to solve a workplace bottleneck, how to stretch a small budget, or even how to make your personal routines more effective. By the end, you'll see creativity as a practical tool you can reach for in almost any situation, not something reserved for artists or inventors. Learning outcomes. Here's what you'll be able to do after this module. Use advanced creativity tools like Scamper, 6 Thinking Hats, and Design Thinking. Challenge your own assumptions using lateral thinking. Apply creativity frameworks to real workplace problems. And finally, build your personal creativity action plan, something you can take away and apply immediately. This is your creativity toolkit for both professional and personal life. Scamper technique. Let's start with Scamper, one of the simplest but most powerful creativity tools. The idea is to take something ordinary and reimagine it by asking 7 different questions: substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, and reverse. Picture a plain coffee mug. If you substitute the ceramic with stainless steel, suddenly you have a travel mug. If you combine it with tech, you might design a mug with a built-in warmer powered by USB. If you adapt, you could give it a spill-proof lid for commuters. If you eliminate, you simplify it into a sleek minimalist cup. Scamper pushes you to see beyond the obvious and imagine possibilities that normally wouldn't come to mind. 6 Thinking Hats, De Bono. Next up, Edward de Bono's 6 Thinking Hats. This is all about structured group problem solving. Each hat represents a different perspective. White equals facts and information, red equals feelings and intuition, black is risks and concerns, yellow optimism and benefits, green equals creativity and alternatives, blue equals process and control. Now imagine a team deciding whether to launch a new mobile app. If they only wear the black hat, they might get stuck in fear. It's too risky, it might fail. But if they rotate through all the hats, they balance caution with facts, creativity, emotions. It's like giving everyone in the room permission to think in ways they normally wouldn't, and that balance produces smarter, well-rounded decisions. Lateral thinking tools. Sometimes creativity means breaking free from logical, step-by-step thinking. That's where lateral thinking comes in. With random entry, you introduce a random word or image. Suppose you're brainstorming a new learning app and your random word is tree. Suddenly, you start thinking about growth, branches, roots, leaves, concepts that can shape your design. With provocation, you suggest something outrageous, like, what if cars had no wheels? That wild question might spark an idea for flying taxi or hoverboards. With the concept fan, you start with one idea and keep expanding it into bigger, broader possibilities. The goal is to shake your brain loose from the obvious and train it to see sideways solutions. Design thinking overview. Design thinking is one of the most popular creativity frameworks in business today. It's human-centered, meaning it starts with people and their needs, not with the product or process. The 5 stages are empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Unlike traditional problem solving, which often jumps straight to solutions, design thinking asks, who are we solving this for? What do they actually struggle with? And only then do we design answers. Helping patients take medication on time. First, you empathize, interview patients, and listen to their frustrations. Then, you define the problem. People forget to take their pills because reminders are inconsistent. Next, you ideate, brainstorm possible solutions like mobile reminders, smart pill boxes, or gamification. Then you prototype, build a simple version of an app. Finally, you test with real users, collect feedback, and improve. That's how a vague challenge becomes a structured solution, step by step. Creativity in problem solving, workplace. In the workplace, creativity is often the difference between stagnation and growth. Some companies redesign their offices to encourage collaboration. Others use AI chatbots to handle routine tasks so employees can focus on more complex work. Even in tough conditions, like limited budgets, creativity shines. For instance, some nonprofits repurpose unused spaces, like empty hotel rooms, into temporary housing. The question is always, what can we do differently with what we already have? Group activity, let's practice. Take a familiar product, like a backpack. Now imagine redesigning it for remote workers. Using Scamper, we might add USB charging ports, combine it with an anti-theft lock, adapt it with ergonomic straps for long commutes. This simple activity shows how structured tools transform everyday items into innovative solutions. Overcoming real-world challenges. Of course, real life comes with constraints, small budgets, tight deadlines, and even team conflicts. But here's the secret. Constraints often fuel creativity. A limited budget forces you to innovate more cost-effectively. A tight deadline pushes you to prototype quickly instead of overthinking. Team conflicts can be managed with tools like Six Thinking Hats, ensuring everyone has a structured voice in the process. Creativity doesn't disappear under pressure. It adapts and grows stronger. Case study example. Consider a small startup facing a huge competitor. With no big advertising budget, they couldn't compete head-to-head. So instead, they leaned into creative storytelling, authentic customer stories on social media, short viral videos, and community engagement. The result? They built loyalty and carved out a niche. Their strength wasn't money. It was Personal Creativity Action Plan, Part 1. Now let's bring it back to you, your own creativity. Think of creativity like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. But if you exercise it regularly, it becomes stronger, more flexible, and more reliable when you need it most. The good news is that exercising creativity doesn't require huge amounts of time or complicated tools. Small, consistent habits make a big difference. Keep a journal. At the end of each day, write down one idea, no matter how small or random it seems. Over time, this becomes a treasure chest of insights you can revisit when problem solving. Carry an idea notebook. Inspiration often strikes when you're not expecting it, on the bus, in a meeting, or even in the shower. Having a notebook or note-taking app handy helps you capture ideas before they disappear. Cross-disciplinary learning. Creativity thrives when you borrow ideas from different fields. For example, studying photography might change how you design a presentation, making you focus on visuals, composition, and storytelling instead of just text. Similarly, reading about psychology could give you fresh approaches to managing a team. The key is consistency. These habits may seem small, but practiced daily, they rewire your brain to notice connections, patterns, and opportunities you'd normally overlook. Personal Creativity Action Plan, Part 2. Now that you've explored the daily habits that keep creativity alive, it's time to go deeper by setting clear, intentional goals. The first step is to identify 2 challenges. One in your professional life. For example, maybe you struggle with long, unproductive meetings or finding fresh ways to engage customers. And one in your personal life. Perhaps you want to redesign your study routine, manage your household budget more creatively, or improve how you spend quality time with family. Next, choose one of the creativity tools we've covered, Scamper, design thinking, or lateral thinking, and map it onto your challenge. If you're using Scamper, ask, what can I substitute, combine, or eliminate to make this process better? For instance, in a workplace setting, you might combine 2 reports into a single dashboard to save time. With design thinking, begin by empathizing. Ask colleagues or family members what they actually need. Define the real problem and then ideate solutions before prototyping small changes. Or try lateral thinking. Push yourself to ask what-if questions that flip assumptions. For example, what if meetings didn't need to be scheduled for an hour? What if household chores could be turned into a game? Remember, the goal isn't perfection. The aim is to practice applying these frameworks to real challenges. The more often you use them, the more natural they become. Over time, you'll notice that your brain automatically starts searching for alternative angles, fresh perspectives, and innovative solutions, even when you're not consciously trying. This action plan is your personal roadmap for embedding creativity into your daily life. By practicing consistently, You'll not only solve problems more effectively, you'll also build resilience, adaptability, and confidence in your creative abilities. Summary of Module 2. To sum up, Module 2 has been all about putting creativity into practice. While Module 1 laid the foundation, understanding what creativity is and recognizing the barriers, this module equipped you with the actual tools and techniques to apply creative thinking in real-world contexts. You've learned Scamper, a flexible method that helps you reimagine products, processes, or challenges by systematically asking, what can I substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, or reverse? The 6 thinking hats, which give structure to group discussions by ensuring all perspectives, facts, feelings, risks, benefits, creativity, and control, are considered. Lateral thinking tools, which help you escape predictable thought patterns and spark unconventional ideas. And design thinking, a human-centered framework that places people at the core of problem-solving through empathy, prototyping, and testing. More importantly, you've seen that creativity isn't just about big ideas or inventions. It's about practical problem-solving, even when resources are tight, deadlines are looming, or teams disagree. We looked at case studies where creativity became a competitive advantage, whether it was a startup challenging big brands or a team turning constraints into opportunities. Finally, you began developing your personal creativity action plan. This plan ensures creativity doesn't stay as theory, it becomes a daily practice in your life. By journaling, experimenting, and setting specific goals, you now have a roadmap for keeping your creativity muscle active. The key takeaway is this: creativity thrives through use. The more you practice these tools, the more natural they will feel, and the faster you'll be at finding fresh perspectives. With both Module 1 and Module 2 behind you, you now have the mindset and the methods. The next step is to commit to applying them consistently in your workplace, studies, and personal life, because creativity isn't a one-time skill. It's a lifelong advantage.